Hi, Diva.
They are already starting.
I know it's always as soon as I start.
Do you have a mod in here?
They're not in here yet.
Do you want me to be mod? I mean, I can.
Oh, yeah, I can mod you.
Because they're already starting. Like, oh my god. If y'all gonna be down there, at least tap the screen. Tap, tap,
For
tap.
real, like, you request up and you don't even, like, tap the screen. Hang on a second. All right, there you go.
Okay. Good, okay.
Yeah, I need to, like, fix this. I need to fix this layout. I don't like that either.
Okay, right there.
All right, that's better.
How are you before we even.
Yeah.
How are you mentally?
Oh, do you know what? I feel pretty good. I love seeing Fragile White Men in particular.
Oof.
Exactly. Defensive and losing it in the comments.
I'm defensive and white. You're about to be annoying as fuck.
So like with the mod thing is like I think as long as it's not like too egregious or anything like really, really bad.
Yeah, like, yeah, no. Actually, like, I'm mod in Black and Beautiful's live, and I don't let people up here, for example, because I don't like doing that because we have to vet people and stuff like that. And I don't normally mute and stuff like that unless they're spamming or, actual slurs, things of that nature, phobias, things of that. But anything else, I have to let them just say anything.
Yeah, so that's pretty much. And then I try to keep the panel even, so I don't want too many people that agree. Cause
Oh yeah, there's always too many friendlies.
yes, and friendlies be doing the most. I swear.
Yes, like so, like we can't like sometimes I just need to hear what the person is saying. Let them talk. I know we don't agree, but just let them talk and get it all out before we can address everything.
Right. So let's see who's in the panel. Yeah, it's just what am I gonna say? Yeah, I just really like to keep it even. But and I find that sometimes a lot of the people that disagree, they're too scared to come up.
Right. Like it's like or they want to be keyboard warriors. And I don't like keyboard warriors. That's one thing. If you gonna say whatever you want to say, if you can't say it up here, don't say it at all. Cause I hate me a keyboard warrior.
Right. Right. I'm gonna bring somebody up.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you
Well,
just give us your can you introduce yourself first?
my name's Eli. I'm 19. I'm white.
Okay, what's your thought on the background?
I think I'm sorry that you can't relate because your people haven't built anything to be proud of, and I'm sorry that you think it's our problem that you haven't made anything to be proud of.
And I'm sorry that you're so fragile that you can't realize and take responsibility for what your forefathers did. Yeah, it's called white fragility. That's what it's called.
It's called white power.
It's called white fragility.
Did he just say the?
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god. You see what I mean? We gotta let them say everything so we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I know. Let's see who's next.
Hello.
Hello, can you give us your age and race?
I'm 18 and I'm white.
Or what's your thoughts on the background?
So I want to start off by saying, can you kind of explain it a little bit? Like, can you explain your thoughts? Because I kind of don't see how this can be a perspective. Like, why do you think that there is white supremacy or white supremacists in America?
There are actual white supremacists in America, but the country itself was actually built on white supremacy. And a lot of the laws and policies, and not just those things, but also the practices that were put in place, they still actually exist. So until those things are dismantled, then it's still going to be a white supremacist country.
So what are those so-called laws in place? What are they preventing African American people from doing?
There are a lot of things that, do you know that today there are more Black people in chains than during chattel slavery?
As in prison?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a white thing. It's crimes committed.
Actually, yeah, it is a white thing.
That, I mean, yeah, statistics show, correct, that African Americans are they are more the percentage of imprisonment and murders and crimes, and I don't think
Unalivings,
that.
but
And I want you to hold up, and I don't think that is
no, you're
because
not
it
going to tell
is
me to hold up. You're going to hold up.
okay.
I'm correcting you. I'm telling you to say unaliving instead of the M word that you just said.
Okay, I apologize. And
Go on.
And so, anyways, like I said, I don't think that is a race thing. I think it is because they are in areas that crime is a kind of taught thing. That is why there is a so-called there is certain behaviors that they are that are, what's it called? Sorry, I can't remember the word, that they're categorized in, right? That's why like there is the racist people that call them thugs, because the statistics show that there is more crime committed by people of the African American race, and that is because of the areas that they've been forced to live in. And I do kind of agree with that there's been areas that they have been raised in that crime has been kind of taught as a thing, because they are not provided with as much privilege as in the previous years that we've been raised in, the white people have. But I also think that the whole white supremacist thing is a influence and a perspective. It is not necessarily a law thing. There's no laws that prevent African American people in the United States from doing anything. There's not a job that a black person couldn't get that a white person get. There's whole movements that allow Hispanic and African American people to get jobs. There's whole spots and jobs for that. And so I do not quite agree that it's a white supremacist country. I think it is a more perspective and mental thing. I don't necessarily think that, like I said, it's all mental. There's no laws that prevent an African American person from doing anything that a white person can't. If I'm wrong, then you can go ahead and share your
Yes,
perspective.
you're wrong. And you know what? I'm gonna let the other two tell you why you're wrong, because there was so much that you said that was just inaccurate and just completely flawed. Diva, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So number one, sir, I need you to understand that, according to the FBI documents, actually white people commit are leading in all violent crimes. I think there's only only two that they are not, including unalivement of people, including CSA, including some of the worst things to man. They are leading. So that is not true. We are us black people are disproportionately put into the prison system because of the school to prison pipeline, because of the areas that we are forced into, and that poverty plus poverty plus something equals crime. So, sir, when we are going to school, we have these white teachers that aren't going to teach us because they don't think that we're worth it, and so we get in trouble, and so we end up into the, again, school to prison pipeline. And then another thing is that America was founded on the concept and social construct of race, and that is with white people at the top and black people at the bottom. So if black people are at the bottom, there's the number one. And do you know what redlining is? Do you know what medical racism is? There are still laws set in place that prevent us. We have to create affirmative action so we can have these things. We have to create diversity, inclusion, and equity so we can get hired in certain places. So I don't understand how you don't know that, because these are laws that are passed. We have to pass a Crown Act so we can wear the hair that naturally grows out of our head. I don't understand how you don't see that this country is a white supremacist country. It was built on that fact. Literally, it was built off of our backs, and then it was put in that. And even though we did all of the work, we were oppressed and put into poverty. We were oppressed and put into the system, because racism is a structure. And interpersonal, institutionalized, and internalized all work together. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I get you're coming from, but I do wanna go ahead and disagree with you. The fact
So
that you
before
said,
you do, I'd actually like to speak because there was a lot you said. And before you do that, please let the other guest finish what they were saying. That would be the polite way to do it.
okay, my fault.
I'm gonna actually pass it to Silver, and then you can respond after.
Okay. And so there are two things that I'd like to highlight for you. And actually, they were already brought up, but I'm going to kind of go back and put a little pin in them for you. Because when we look at, you said that there are all of these, and first you did acknowledge that there's a disparity. You acknowledged that disparity based on not having the same starting ground, so not having equity from the beginning. And you mentioned that, but then you went on to say that's why we have all of these extra things. I would assume these extra things are things like affirmative action, which statistically speaking have predominantly by percentage benefited white women more than anybody in the Black community. So the majority of those things that you're saying were put in place to help marginalized groups primarily benefited white women. And so there was no help. There has been no help that has been given that has been adequate to the damage that has been done by white supremacy. And when we talk about what that white supremacy is, you even acknowledged that you danced all around the fact that the Black community is over policed. And the statistics that you misquoted actually say that they are not responsible for committing the violent crime. They are arrested at a 50% higher rate. But within that arrest, it does not say that they were then convicted of those crimes. So they're arrested 50% of the crimes, which means that their areas are heavily policed. But the reality is that when we look at the harm done to America, just as was stated before, it's white men that lead all categories by percentage of some of the grossest shit that is done in America. And it's important to make that known. And even if we broke down the convictions for the Black community, you also then have to acknowledge that they have over 50% of the yearly exoneration rate when it comes to being punished.
Silver, can I just respond to you real quick or no?
No, you will wait your turn because you have not been introduced. We are talking to Spruan right now, and somebody is before you.
All right.
So I
No,
want to
you're
go.
not going to then speak into the gap. Where he interrupted me, that doesn't mean you get to piggyback off of that interruption.
Oh, I apologize.
We let you complete the entirety of the nonsense that just came out of your mouth, and we're being very polite to you.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you. So give me a second to kind of pull back to where I was before I was interrupted. So when we look, okay, I was on to the exoneration rates. And so we're going to go back to the question of this being a white supremacist country, because the reality is that there is no system in America that you could bring to our attention that we could not point out that structural racism, which is based on pseudoscientific belief that the Black community is inferior to the white community. And we can even look at that scientifically and what it looks like if you'd like.
Okay. Well, since you want to say that I'm speaking nonsense, then I'm just going to kind of put it in a more a standard sense. So pretty much I'm going to go ahead and reply to you. So the reason that why Black people are more detained and without getting booked on charges is because, like I said, most of the crime is from African American people. That is percentage based. Like I told you, I don't think that is because of a race thing. I think it is because of the areas that they were forced in 2 years ago. So it has become a habit because they don't have as much. So they feel like they need to steal and commit crimes as a way of life because they are not entitled to shit and entitled to things like white people were years ago.
Before you continue, can I ask you a favor? You're a
Yeah.
white man, right? Can you please not talk about the Black community like you understand their lived experience or why they do anything that they do or don't do?
I'm quite literally saying it's because of how the white people treated them.
No, I don't care what you think it's because of. Let's please realize that we're white people and we need to stay the fuck in our lane. This isn't for us. You think you know why a people is doing a thing because you can look at it analytically when you have absolutely no experience, no understanding of what their perspective is. And you want to sit here as a white man and think that you're not displaying white supremacy by telling a community what they feel and think and do and why they are who they are.
Quit judging people by their skin color. You judge people by their own color.
Dang, those were
Here,
feelings.
here's
Those
Silver.
were feelings.
Can I talk without getting interrupted real quick? So I just want to go ahead and reply to you. First of all, I think it's disrespectful that you assume what I do and don't know. I am not at all a racist. All my friends are black and Mexican. I have more black friends.
Damn.
Your rhetoric says otherwise.
Can you stop interrupting me?
Can somebody mute him? So, sir, what you're not going to do
Jessica, it's my turn to talk.
No, sir. What you're not going to do is tokenize your black friends or your non-black friends, because that's not what we're going to do up here. That's what you just did. We're not going to tokenize them. And also, we can assume, because of your talking points, that you have not even yet opened a book. You said you're 18, right? I'm 19. And I have schooled you on everything. So I don't care about none of that. You need to go read a book somewhere, because obviously you haven't. And obviously you haven't done any type of research. You haven't even talked to your black friends, apparently, about racism. So, no, what you're not going to do is tokenize my people up here at all.
And for those that are interested in the statistics that he's misquoting, if you go to the link tree in my bio, down in the very last section, you're actually going to see the statistics that show, just as he breezed past 2 times, the fact that when you look at those FBI statistics, they are not crimes committed, they are arrests. They were arrested, not convicted. They were not even charged. They were just picked up and detained because they fit the description. When the reality is, the highest percentages, when we take out the exonerations, the highest arrest for unaliving in the United States is white men. The highest arrest of SA crimes against children and women are white men, per capita by percent.
Can I respond or?
No, it's not your turn. Again, you have not
I
been.
just wanted to introduce myself. I haven't gotten a chance to.
We haven't gotten to you yet, sir. We will get to you. Just be patient.
All right.
Can I speak for a minute without getting interrupted? Like, even if you guys do find my claims false. Okay. So back to what I was saying, I was not tokenizing my black friends. All I was saying is that in my perspective, in my eyes, I do not see for skin color. That is what's wrong with the United States. We see people for skin colors and we categorize them.
How do you know
That's
you have black
racist.
friends if you don't see color?
You're interrupting me, man. Like, come on. Can I explain?
I mean,
what I'm
I
trying
can
to say?
interrupt you.
Why though?
What you actually just
I'm being
said-
respectful. I'm just trying to
What you
explain my
actually
opinion.
just said, you basically said, I don't see color. Colorblind racism is still racism. So I don't want to hear you say that you are not a racist, because that's all you've done is shown that you are a racist. Now I'm telling you that saying that is racist.
Well, respectfully, you don't know if you're right, correct? Like,
I actually do.
you don't know that though. Like, I'm just
I
saying.
actually do.
I'm being completely respectful. You're telling me what's right and wrong.
I'm
You don't
telling
know
you
what's
that what you just said was racist.
No, it's not though.
It's
It's not.
It is
It's
racist.
not.
It's colorblind racism. And the reason why
It's
you
not.
do that, and it's the same reason why you say all lives matter. And I'm not saying that you specifically say that, but the same reasoning is there. It's colorblind racism, and it's to shut down conversations about race and racism so that you can feel comfortable.
All I'm saying is that that's what's wrong with our country. We see people by color, and like I said, we categorize them by their behavior because of their skin color. That's why racism exists. That is why, our country has this whole concept going on. This is why there's this live, right? So all I'm saying, and I do agree, I do think all lives matter, right? Like, I don't think
Are you
that
telling us what our life is about?
No, I literally just said that the whole.
I know, but you monologue,
Okay.
so I like to go point by point. So let's actually talk about the white supremacy that the racism comes from in this country and the foundation of it. Because I know you hear things a lot like inherently racist, white people are inherently racist. And I think a white man telling a black woman that her experience is invalid when she's telling
didn't
you
say that. I never said that.
I'm
No, I didn't.
highlighting what you did for the chat. Okay, and then I'm going to get back and address you. Because you absolutely just sat here and told the host that they were wrong and that they didn't even know what they were talking about, that they didn't know it was racism and they couldn't tell. You really just did that. That was wild. And now let's get back to the foundation. Let's talk about real quick the white supremacist ideology and the foundation that the structure of racism comes from. It's when we look at the white supremacist ideology, we are looking at something called race realism. Race realism is exactly what we talk about when we talk about that structure of racism and white people pushing down on the Black community. It's the idea that the white community has higher brain function, higher cognitive function, more reasoning abilities than anybody in the Black community does. It's the idea that the Black community is more aggressive, that they can take higher amounts of pain, that they're closer to animals in nature. The idea that race is biological is nothing more than a pseudoscientific belief that upholds white supremacy. And when we look at that structure and what that white supremacy is built on, we look to our education system in America. And we understand that those who built the white supremacist ideology, who built the foundation for this after slavery, the pseudoscientific belief, we know that that structure was the Moms of Liberty, the Daughters of Confederacy, who then wrote all of our textbooks for the entirety of the United States, has whitewashed our history to have these ideas embedded in them. And when we talk about things like medical racism, we mean it's written into the medical textbooks that the Black community can take higher amounts of pain, that they're more aggressive, that they're more animalistic in nature and have lower brain function. We see this in the output of our daily lives, in all of the systems. You asked me to point to a law. Let's take a look at what the NFL just came out and did. They just came out and admitted, and you can go to their webpage and see it, that they were practicing that idea of medical racism. They were practicing and paying their Black players less when they would receive head injuries for a payout for whatever it was, that they were receiving less than their white players based on the idea of cognitive function and that Black men could take higher amounts of pain and harder hits on the head.
Yeah, but that's a private company. Like,
That
there's
is-
a difference.
That
There's,
is
there could-
medical
I want you to-
racism, because when we
Well, there
talk
could be a-
about who was practicing this, we're talking about the doctors and the staff, the medical staff on point that reviewed these things. The NFL may have hired them, but they are a medical staff. We also see this play out in the fact that Black women unalive at 3 times a higher rate during pregnancy and childbirth than white women do. And we see all of the statistics because it's built into our education system.
Okay, well, I just want to go ahead and compare what you're saying, right? So what you're saying is that the NFL came out with something that, like I said, which I was pointing out to earlier when before you interrupted me, that there is a stereotype for certain races that they have a higher pain tolerance, just like you were saying for African American people, or they're more aggressive, right? That's exactly what I was saying. What's wrong? But am I also not wrong that the NFL is a private-owned company? It is not a government-based company, and a privately Black-owned company could prevent.
So they're doctors that are medically licensed is who I'm talking about. So when you were muted, I answered that question, but you were so ready to speak back that you didn't hear my answer. These are medical doctors that performed these things, that said that it was based on the way they were treated was medical racism, and they are licensed doctors.
Licensed by the government. So
Okay, but that's a person. It's not the government telling them to make those decisions. Am I correct? It's the private company.
They
So all I'm
have to
saying
be,
is I'm not-
no, because they have to back up. If a doctor does something medically, they have to be able to back up scientifically. And so for many, many years, the scientific ideology that was practiced was that the Black community could, this was in their law books or in their school books, in their medical journals, in that. And now that we're learning more, now that we're understanding genetics and we're understanding all of this stuff to greater heights, we understand that what has been practiced and what is currently practiced and what needs to change and why we're here trying to talk about why this needs to change is because there is scientific data that shows that that is nothing but white supremacist pseudoscience, and there are medical journals in my link tree in my bio that talk about this peer-reviewed data.
Well, I disagree with you completely. Like I said,
Of course, you have no facts, you have
Can I
no
talk?
evidence,
Can
and
I
you
talk?
don't know.
Can I please talk? I mean, I'm trying to be respectful, and I'm not inter-
For those that are interested in facts and knowledge and information for any of the topics that I'm talking about here again in my link tree, for the medical stuff, you're actually going to go under deconstructing racism. And then for the statistics and things like that, as far as the FBI and everything, you can look down in the bottom portion there and it'll give you the breakdown so that you can make decisions and go do research for yourself, make decisions on facts and not feelings like this individual.
I'm also quite done centering you because we also have more guests. So if the host agrees, I would like to move on to another person.
Okay, well, I mean, if I could finish talking, we'd be done like 10 minutes ago, but I keep getting interrupted.
No, because
I'm
it's
all
going to
done
be the
speaking.
Spooling show. There's 3 other guests. I really want to get
It
to
wouldn't be
them
the Spooling
first,
show if you guys would let me
and we
talk
will
instead of
come back
interrupting
to
me.
you.
Silver's talked more
Yeah,
than
okay. Have a nice day. Next, Jessica.
Hi, how are y'all?
We're good. How are you?
Good.
What are your thoughts on the background?
I just honestly, I think that it's been like this for a really long time and it's an issue and it needs to be stopped.
Okay.
And I want to be a part of the solution.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, John.
Oh,
So what books have you read?
yo, John Brown, can I speak real quick? I got you, man.
Oh.
I got you.
Who are you?
I'm Marcus.
Yeah, I thought the host said for me to go.
Oh, my bad. She did? Oh, I was just next in line. My bad.
Yeah, John is a moderator. He can interject, but we will get to you next. Ask your question, John.
Yes. So what are you doing, Jessica? Any books you're reading? Any documentaries you've watched? Or where are you at in your anti-racist journey? Jessica? Jessica? I'm curious where you're at in your anti-racist journey. Like, what books have you read? Like, there's a lot of education that white people need. That a lot of things we need to learn because we don't have the experience that Black Americans and other people of color have in this country. So I'm just curious of what books you read, documentaries you watched.
Well, I have biracial children, so like I can't say that I've done any like reading or anything like that, but I also do not like my children to get,
Are your
picked
children
on.
Black? Are they Black biracial?
Yes.
So, is your child right there?
No, that's my nephew.
So the one I don't know, but I don't think that's really appropriate for you to be having the conversation like that in front of a kid because we heard what the kid said.
Honey, he literally
No, I'm
just
not your
came
honey.
outside.
That's fine. I'm
He
not
just
your
came
honey.
outside.
I'm not your
So
honey. That's fine.
Okay, so I just want to, before I ask my next question, so you said that you haven't read any books. Is that correct? I wish you knew what was coming. All right, Sir Tweakin, go ahead.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name's Marcus. I'm 22. My pronouns are he/him. Just throwing it out there.
What's your race, sir?
I'm white.
Okay. What would you like to speak to the topic to?
So I kind of wanted to formulate with Silver and the other guy that was up here earlier because their conversation was getting kind of interesting, and I kind of wanted to interject and speak up because I feel like statistics are a key point to when identifying not only racism but identifying issues that we have to fix. Right. That being said, I kind of wanted to say to Silver, so I understand this whole point in this speaking topic is that this displacement and this white supremacist ideology that's been shed over our country and the law within it has just absolutely deteriorated minority communities, especially the Black community. And I understand that now. So I was looking into the statistics because I'm going to say where I live. I live in Chicago, right? And it is a 29% Black city, 29% Black populated city, second biggest population under white, obviously, because white people are majority. And this is what I don't get, right? So with the displacement of Black people, especially being placed into poverty, first off, I don't understand how white supremacy is to blame for the 29% of African Americans accounting for, and these aren't for pickup arrests, these are for legitimate convictions, and it has been confirmed by the CPD and the FBI. So legitimate convictions here, they make up for 79% of the homicides with firearms, right? And on top of that, for the theft, right, for the luxury theft and for the grand theft, they make up 80% of it. Nonetheless, more than 7 out of 10 times, right, when it comes to theft, it is an item of luxury or considered grand theft. So this is what I don't understand. Is it a culture issue, or why are we still up here blaming white people for an issue that respectively seems to be a culture issue? I don't understand that.
I can understand why you would have a hard time understanding that, as because you enjoy upholding white supremacy and white supremacist culture. Let's
Okay.
back up all the way to the very beginning of what you said, because you said you're using the word deterioration of. You're acting as if the Black community in your narrative there ever started out in America, ever had the same starting point as we did for them to deteriorate. No. I let you finish that entire thing, and you're going to do the same, or I'm going to begin to do to you like we did to the other guest. Because the more you interrupt me when you speak, the more I will interrupt you. All right. So let's pull back into that white supremacist politeness that you started out the conversation with, because I'd like you to go back there. Now, so when we look at that, you're saying that they have deteriorated from a point into what they are now. But the reality of the situation is throughout the entirety of slavery, the Jim Crow era, and the entirety of American history, there has never been an equal place that we've ever come from. Any welfare system, or as the white supremacists like to talk about, any socialist, any type of system like that that's used benefits white women more than any other community. And white women also have the highest harm to children rate. It's white women, percentage per capita. Now, when we look at the statistics that you were blathering off, you tried to equate two things, or conflate two things. You started talking about where you were born, or where you live now, and the population there that is Black, a part of the Black community, versus what is on the entirety of the United States. You wanted us to believe that somehow the Black community represented more than 14% of the entirety of the United States. And when we look at the breakdown of cities, and we look at the statistical data of the cities and the states, and where the highest amount of crime is, it's not in their community. They are so heavily over-policed, it's the white communities that see it. It's the white jurisdictions, and there's no separation of that. And again, when we look at both the FBI statistics, and then you can also go to the Southern Poverty Law Center and see more information about it there.
So I heard everything you said, right? And that's a fair point. The over-policing is something to account for those altered statistics. First off, I want to say, this is what I don't understand about the over-policing, because considering, actually, since 2015, I believe was a changing point over-policing. In New York City, within, I believe it was 2015 or 2016, the mayor enacted a policy where he actually took off the stop and frisk law. Why? Because it was pressure due to the systematic racism and over-policing in black neighborhoods. So that being said, taking it out you think would do good. No, it actually did reverse damage. Black crime, and I'm going to say black crime, spiked up 40%. So respectfully, I don't
Actually, no, you're
understand.
not.
I don't understand.
You're not gonna do that. You're not
Listen,
gonna
I don't
say
know what I
black
did,
crime.
so I'm
You're
sorry.
gonna pause and put yourself on mute so it can be explained to you.
No, can I finish my point?
So
Or
no, so no, that's not actually
Oh,
what
so you
you
don't want me
need
to
to do.
finish my point
No,
now?
I'm a
Okay,
black
so that's a
woman
little
and I'm
disrespectful.
going to
You're gonna
speak.
wait your turn.
I've been
So
speaking,
what
so
you're not going to
What is it
do,
with YT men and impulse control?
I have no clue.
my
So what you're
so
not
you
going to do is call it
interrupt
black
me.
crime because it's crime in general. Anybody, there isn't something that only black people do during crime. It's called crime. It is called crime. Period, point blank. You're not going to call it black crime or black on black crime. There's no such thing. It's crime, period. Take that out of your vocabulary now.
So back to my
You
point.
so boldly thought, no, you're not done yet, because I'm going to explain to the chat what you just did.
Oh, no, they don't
Okay,
need to
because
explain
when
it. She
we,
just explained it.
no, she explained it to you, and there are
Yeah, and
44
she also
other
explained it to
people
the
in
chat that were
here
here.
that I would like to speak to and highlight why what you said is a problem
So
and why
can I
you're
finish
going
my
to take it
point
out
and
of your mouth.
explain why
No, you can't. No. All right, I'm
that's
talking to the chat.
oppressive and actually disrespectful?
I'm glad you feel disrespected. That makes me happy. All right. So when we look at the boldness of this white man saying that he's going to call it black crime, as if he just invented that word and he's going to use it to shorten up his talking point so he doesn't have to continue to say it in lengthwise. What he's actually doing is using a white supremacist talking point. When we look at the tropes that the majority of the white supremacists believe, they do believe that black crime is a thing. And so he didn't just make that up on his own, and come up with that. He's just going to call it that for conversation's sake. All right. It's actually problematic. There is no such thing, just as Diva said. And that's why he's not allowed, and he's not going to be allowed to continue to use white supremacist talking points as he talks. If he takes those out of his vocabulary, he can speak then.
Okay, thank you. So I'll take them out of my vocabulary and just use the word crime. So back to my talking point. If we just use the word crime, it doesn't change the situation that we're enduring here, especially in New York. Because back to what I said, it rose 40% when we removed the stop and frisk. And the over-policing, back in 2020 when George Floyd passed away from, you know what? An absolutely out-of-hand police officer, which was actually, yeah, he is in jail. Thank God. Okay, so why are we muting me?
Because I'd like to
Oh,
speak.
no, I'm
Oh, go
not
ahead.
done yet. I'm not done yet. Thank you, but I'm
Oh,
not done yet.
that's adorable. That's adorable.
It's really cute how you're.
Yeah, it really is. And I actually lost my talking point because he does that. He likes to do that. I forgot. I think I've actually been on a panel with him because, when we look at the crime, he wants you to believe again that crime is based on the white supremacist ideology that we are all individuals. Okay, that we all need to be held accountable individually for the crime. But what he's taking out, and why it's a white supremacist talking point, is because he's taking out the fact then when we look at what has happened, the oppression that has happened to the Black community, when we look at poverty, and poverty being the number one cause of any type of crime, he wants to take that out because that's not something that white people look at when white people look at white society. And so it's very important that we remember that everything that he's talking about is in fact a byproduct of the white supremacist country that is founded in the United States and that all systems are built upon.
So back to what I was saying, crime and poverty correlate hand in hand, okay? If you investigate any sort of crime statistics, you would know that that's just a fact given, period. Okay? That also being said, right? I want to go back to that. So when African Americans are displaced into povertile areas, right? It is true. They're more likely to commit a crime. And the defense mechanism that is being placed in is that they commit these crimes such as theft to, provide food, secure stable housing for their families, for themselves, which makes sense. Except this is what I don't get. When we actually look at what are the crimes being committed, it's majority of two things.
I don't think they should go
It
to
is
jail
majority
though.
of two things. It is grand theft and luxury theft, and it is homicide. So I don't understand how those support one's povertile condition into surviving. That makes no sense.
Because they are more likely to join a gang, which would mean that they were more likely to do those types of
Black
crimes.
people just want to commit crimes and not have to pay the
no, but
penalty.
it's a period
We
point. It's a
haven't
period
introduced-
point.
We haven't
It's a
introduced-
period point, Diva. This is what I'm trying to say. We can
Well,
go
I can-
back
hey, I can
as
introduce-
far as we want. but we
That
need to
so that
understand
would
something
actually
here.
be
This
that
isn't
you
an
might
issue
be
to blame
correct
on any race.
if
This
you
is an issue
took
to
out
blame.
the exoneration rates. If you took
Black
out
people
the
just-
exoneration rates, you would know that per capita
Just being racist.
unalivings are white men. All right.
So
That
where did you get your
statistically
statistics from? Because
speaking,
that is extremely false.
Wrong.
I
So I have the
said
stats.
when no you don't,
Wrong.
obviously not. And
Hold
for
on,
those
hold on,
that
I'm
are
gonna pull it up
interested,
right now.
go ahead,
Silva,
Freedom.
There's more black people
hold
than
on,
racist.
Silva. I'm muting you guys, and you're
You're not muting me at all.
I am muting you.
No, you're not.
I am muting you, sir. Please stay on
Black
mute.
people just wanting to blame
Sir,
white man for the problem.
Sir, please mute yourself, because I have been muting you.
No, thank
and
you.
not muted yourself. Okay,
No,
then
thank you.
You can get in the you can get in the comments, and then you can come back up. But ST, please stop talking over Civil. Let her finish, and then you go ahead and say something. We have
Interrupted me 5 times.
Sir.
5 times.
Sir,
She's interrupted
you're
me.
talking over me, sir.
She's interrupted me
You're
5 times.
talking
I don't
over
understand.
me, sir.
Can I get an
You're
answer?
talking
May I have
over
an
me,
answer?
sir.
May I have an answer?
This is the problem. You want to say Silva's talking over you, but now when I'm trying to tell you how this live should go, you're talking over me. This makes no sense. So go ahead, Silva, and then you can talk ST. It's called respond.
Right. And so let's go back to Sir Tweaken's statistics there, because he's wanting to break down city by city now, because when we look at the overall FBI crime statistics and you break them down by jurisdiction, we know that the majority of well, I can't say majority, but a large number of jurisdictions don't even report into the data. So when you look at the raw data on table 43 and you break down the number of unalivings by race, and then you look down and see that that total number of unalivings isn't first and foremost the total of unalivings. So they don't account for 50% of the arrests for total unalivings. And remember, these are man, I'm trying to keep my TikTok language. These are arrests and not convictions. When we do go over to the side and look at convictions, we also have to look at the exoneration rates for any given year, and we have to account for those. And when we know that every single year the Black community is responsible for more than 50% of the exonerations when it comes to these crimes, and he's stuck. The other one he's stuck on, because he doesn't, every time I've brought up for him that white men lead in categories of SA against children and women per capita, white men lead in that category. He deflects to crime of theft of things other than what is it, like gosh, I'm sorry, I'm losing the word now, but things to live. So he's going into theft of items, and instead of looking at some of the most egregious crime statistics in the United States, which I would say is the SA of crime against children, when we know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys under the age of 18 are going to be SA'd. Not only are they going to be SA'd, we can see the statistical data of who commits those crimes. We can also see the age, the predominant age of who that crime is committed against. And I think it's going to shock the F out of the comments when you learn that it's under 3 years old. And for those statistics, they're going to be under the SAPRO thing on my link tree here shortly. Because when we look at those statistics, those are the ones we should be talking about, and not some petty theft and nonsense like Sir Tweakin wants to twist around.
So what she's doing here is, ironically enough, called deflecting. She's trying to deflect homicide and grand theft, which are actually two
Actually started off speaking
very
about
important
those.
crimes. And I want to identify what Silver said about the white people leading it. That's facts. That's absolutely true. I saw it firsthand. But I just don't think Silver understands the two types of data that were being presented with by the FBI, which you can actually switch through: probable data and then raw data. When you look at raw data, it's just going to be the flat out numbers. But probable data, right? I think we all know what the word probable means. That being said, it leads down to the percentage of how many people within a community, or most likely within a community, will commit said crime A, B, or C. You know what I mean?
So I'd like to clarify
what I'd like
that,
to, no, Silver,
because
you,
all
no,
of
Silver,
the
it's okay.
sources,
No,
no, it's
Silver,
okay.
it's okay.
All
It's
of the
okay.
sources.
I have the FBI.
I didn't
ICCI, and
misrepresent your status. I didn't misrepresent your stats, and you won't misrepresent mine.
So I'm not
Okay,
misrepresenting
so the
yours. I've heard you
stats,
loud and
the
clear.
raw
I've
data
heard you loud and clear.
stats, again, the raw data stats are in my link
Yeah,
tree in
yeah,
my bio.
raw data
So
and
for
probable
those
data
that
are
want
two
to
different
look at the
things.
raw data
We're
facts,
switching
the
between both of
raw
them.
data stats, which is all I've spoken about the entirety of the time.
Raw data, you
The
can't go
raw
off of
data
data.
stats for anybody that wants to follow along are in my link tree in my bio.
So here's the issue with raw data, and I just want to say there's an issue with raw data because there is. When we look at raw data, obviously, and statistically, just like when you flip a coin, if math is on our side, white
I
people.
thought the issue was with projected
Silver,
data.
hold on.
No, you're twisting your argument. So it's not raw data.
All right, Cougars, let's
said
calm
that.
down.
Silver, no one
Let's
said
calm
that.
down.
No one
Projected
said
data?
that, Silver. Silver, no one said that. I
Projected
didn't see
data?
that.
You said
I
projected
never
data,
said
the
that. I
raw,
have this whole thing on
and I
clip.
didn't
I
understand
have this
raw
whole thing on
data.
clip. No one
And now
said
you're
that.
saying raw data
No
is
one
math?
said that.
Let's
Silver,
calm down.
no one said that.
You
No one
did.
said that.
Here we
All
go.
right, Cougars, let's
No, I
calm
didn't.
down, Cougars.
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Calm down,
Mute up.
calm down.
Mute up. Here we go with another person who had black on his string. He's coming up here.
Shut the fuck up.
Thank you. But you need to shut up yourself. That doesn't make me upset or anything like that. This is crazy. Like, y'all cannot interrupt each other.
I was speaking first. You saw that, right?
Okay, Silver, let him go ahead and say what he needs to say,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But we're not gonna do any monologuing. So say what you have to say, and Silver can respond back. But it's other guests up here.
Thank you so much, by the way. Thank you. Let's resume the conversation. So like I said, the issue with raw numbers to probable numbers, there's a big issue there because we can actually see people within a community are more likely to commit said crime. All right. So let's fast forward from that. And let me just try to get back on track here. We cannot sidetrack, right, from the facts and math. Math is very important because if math was on our side, most likely, right, white people would commit pretty much every crime in consideration they are majority of the population. That would be logical. But we have to look at the probable statistics because when we do, guess what we see, guys? We see a major issue being presented here to where white people lead in pretty much majority of all SA cases, and that is an issue. But that being said, if Silver wants to identify that, then she must accept and identify that African Americans on the probable statistics, like the white people are on that, commit most of the homicides and theft rates, right? So we need
Let's stop
to
right
be
there. Hold on,
aware
hold
of
on.
that. We cannot flip between both. We cannot.
ST, you're monologuing. So stop right there. No,
I'm not-
ST, please don't unmute. Let's stop right there. Silver can rebuttal. Can you go ahead and say what you need to say to ST, and then ST, you can continue. But we still have other guests up here. So I could even answer that. But I'm gonna let Silver answer that because I know the numbers of arrests that you're going by, and I know the numbers of unaliving.
By
So
convictions.
please don't unmute yourself. And I know the numbers of unaliving, and I'm gonna ask you that question. So be prepared. Silver, go ahead and rebuttal bite to him. I'm trying to keep this under control.
I appreciate you, Freedom. And I saw Diva had their hand up as well. I didn't know if they wanted, or if for me first or them first.
Diva, do you want to say anything before Silver say rebuttal bite to him?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, sir, you want to say that we can't flip in between, but you are flipping in between. We are giving you the statistics, the real statistics of the fact that most YT people in this country, please do not unmute, most YT people in this country commit most crimes, especially most violent crimes. And so you are hyper focused on theft and H side, when in fact, again, we have explained to you why that happens, and you're just so hyper focused on that. Now you want to flip and say that, oh, this is wrong, oh, this is wrong, oh, this raw data, we can't, there's a problem with raw data. Sir, you need to understand that you hyper focusing on one type of crime doesn't account for all types of crime, and we are accounting for all types of crime. And all types of crime, YT people lead in. So I need you to be for real when we're having this conversation, because clearly you cannot read statistics. Because again, when we are talking, you're just talking about arrests. When we go and look at the conviction side, we actually also have to look at the exoneration side. Again, please do not unmute. We have to look at the exoneration side. And with that being said, the fact that Black people are exonerated over 50% means that they did not do the crimes that they were convicted of. So again, your points have no merit. But go ahead, Silver.
Sorry, I was responding to Libertarian in the comments. Libertarian, don't unmute, but I'm just going to read it out. I've seen you, you've been on my panel, and I've let you talk. I've heard all of your talking points. That's why I shut down 3 of them before you even opened your mouth, and you had to pivot to a new one that Rexy ate you up yesterday for, and I'll do it again today. But sit tight, we'll get to you. I want to go back to Sir Tweaking and his white supremacist talking points, because he's very focused on crime.
Home with the microaggressions. No need to be
It
extremely
is.
aggressive.
Oh
You
my
can be nice.
gosh. Oh my
You can
gosh.
be
Oh
nice.
my gosh. It's just so much. It's just so
Oh my
much.
goodness.
Just baby bottles and binkies. I have my whoopee right here. Just
I don't
mute up.
understand why you're being
Mute
so
up.
mean.
I
haven't
know.
said a
I
mean-
know you can't mute. You said
Very mean.
thank you.
Very mean.
Silver, I would like to ask him a question.
Yeah.
So if African American people do 50% of the crime and it adds up to 4,775, 4,075, right? And the unaliving is 16,425. Do that make 0.5%? Is that 50%?
Are you switching between probable and raw data? Like we've
No.
been doing up here this whole
Don't
time?
don't even go with the raw data or poverty.
Because you can't switch between them.
Because
It
what
doesn't make
I'm
sense.
doing, sir, please don't interrupt me. What I took off my data that I keep in my head because white
In your head.
supremacists in my head, I know the numbers. In
I
my
have the
head,
numbers on the
the
screen.
reason why I keep this is because white supremacists always bring this up. So we make 14.4% of the population. On the data of arrests, it says arrest statistic 43B. It says that we did unaliving 4,075. You can look it up. The unaliving of all the year round is 16,425. So you subtract that, is that half?
No.
So why is it that we get people like yourself bring
Because,
up
can I answer?
1450?
Because that's probable data and you're not using it in proper
Now,
manner.
if you want to go proper data,
It is. I have it on the screen. Can I just show you? Can I show you? May I show you the stats?
What this is the problem that you interrupt.
There is no
everybody.
problem.
You
I'm willing to show you.
interrupt everybody else. You can't show me nothing because I already know the statistics.
I have the statistics on the screen.
I know the statistics. And did you not hear me when I said it was arrest? Arrest. But I did not even include exoneration. I did not even include the exoneration. But the problem I have is why people like you are so concerned about the black community. About the black community when who conquered?
It's concerning.
Wait, sir, can you just? I know that impulse.
Well, I was supposed to.
That impulse, sir. That impulse control just not working with me. So I want to know who conquered, colonized, pillaged, grape, and did everything possible in the 7 continents.
In the 1700s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And no, it's not in the 1700s.
300 years ago. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is such a low blow.
Sir.
Such a low
It just
blow,
wasn't
Freedom.
the 1700s.
That goes to show that you don't want to actually see the fact.
It wasn't in the 1700s, and you are ignorant.
It was.
You want to keep on talking over people, and I see why Silver and Diva is going through this because you want to unmute and you want to talk over people. But the problem is they did all that in the 1700s, and you want to say 1700, but they're doing it now. They're doing it now.
Where?
Africa?
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
It's tribal and religious. Are you serious?
No, sir.
When?
They're doing it in Africa, in Somalia.
Give me a name.
They're
I want a
doing it
name.
in Somalia. They're doing it in Somalia. They're doing it in Ukraine. They're doing it all over this world. They're still doing it, sir. But you want to pretend like your people. No, you pretend like your people are not doing this right now. Your people are still doing this. Your people are still doing this. They're doing it in Palestine. They're doing it in every place that you could possibly say. But you want to keep on unmuting and talking over people that you don't even want to go by the real stats. You want to pivot like Miss Diva said. Miss
You're
Diva
being extremely offensive.
Diva said you want to pivot. You want to go this way and you want to go that way, sir. But you won't stay on the same subject. You want to say raw data. You want to say raw data, but you won't go by the statistics. I memorized those numbers. You know why I memorized those numbers? Because white supremacists like yourself continue to bring that up. Wow, my ass.
Low blow.
It's not a low blow.
So mad at
Your people have did a lot to our people. Your people still doing it.
And I wanted to
Why
add.
are you so concerned about the black community? Why all of a sudden you want to be so concerned about the black community? Okay, I'm sorry. I'll let John talk because you're gonna keep on unmuting, and this is ridiculous. You're continuing to unmute, sir, and I'm gonna keep on muting you. Let someone talk because you're talking over people, and that makes no sense at all.
I have a question. Why is it that white people are concerned about crime committed by 0.0008% of the black population in America? Like, what is your point?
Can I answer?
0.0008%.
I know why.
Oh, I know too. Why too?
No,
but
I know
go
why.
ahead.
You want to know why? Because, for example, look at the Lives background panel. We're inaugurating white people for a cultural issue. That is why. Boom.
Tweaking, you're not going to overtalk me. Hush. You need to wait for people to finish or I will drop you and I won't bring you back up. Your white privilege will not work here. Go ahead.
So I just don't get it. So you're looking to villainize and dehumanize black people. Like, that's your goal. Look at their crime. But, us as white people, according to the FBI.gov stats, we're committing millions more crimes every year in this country. So, and we have our own issues. Like I have to worry about, I have proximity. Crime is proximity crime, let's be real. So I'm around mostly white people. Why the hell would I be talking about what's going on in the black community? I'm worried about two things. I'm worried about the people who commit the most crimes in this country. Again, millions more by white people. And I'm worried about, the people around me who are most willing, who are most, have the highest percentage of, committing a crime against me because they're close to me. So, and that's white people. So why are we so focused on the black community, except for the fact to uphold white supremacy and to spew talking points? I'm sorry, what was that?
I have the answer. I actually have two answers which correlate with each other if you'd like.
You need to wait for him to finish. I told you this already.
And monologuing.
I
He
said
didn't
wait
even
for
let me
them to finish their statement.
So I got thrown off. At first I thought that was the host, but so I don't get it. Again, with the background here, what is there to be proud of living in a white supremacist country? We have been teaching white supremacy in the children's textbook since the 1800s. This has been going on over 200 years. Well, I don't think it started in like the 1830s, 1840s. So, well over 150 years. Generations, over 10 generations of pushing white supremacist garbage, propaganda in our textbooks. And that's why we have the problems we have today, because we don't even know the history of what we've done. But, that's getting off topic, but I would love to know. I would love to hear your opinion on why you want to point the finger at 0.0008% of the black population that has committed crimes.
I have the answer. I have two answers. For one, when you say, what is there to do with this panel on the background? First off, the main talking point of white supremacy, right, systemic racism, it all comes down to one thing, being white. That's a fact, and we can all agree on it. So that also being said, majority of issues within the country, right, it all ties down to how obviously this white supremacist country, in your guys' views, right, can fix it or get rid of, right? So let's fast forward to problem two. Right? Another reason, it's because I believe we've come so far in society to where we found a scapegoat for cultural issues. Is there racism? Undoubtedly, yes. Is there racism? Yes, I believe there is. Right? I agree with you. Except here's an issue. What does that racism reach? Do I believe the white man in this country, right, in modern times in 2024, is responsible for the black community being more likely to commit a homicide?
Yes.
No, it is
Next
not.
question.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
Yes.
How is it? Can I get an answer?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because of redlining, because of the fact that we are pushed into poverty and then over policed.
So did you respond? I
What?
answered this already. I answered.
You're asking us why we are blaming YT folks for these things, right? You're asking us why it seems like a cultural thing. It's not. It's not a cultural thing. It's because we are pushed and redlined into these communities, and then those communities are continue to be over policed. Sir, we are not blaming you because y'all are the ones who did it. Go ahead, John.
So I'd like
And
to
the problem
this
is, Tweakin, you're continuing white supremacist talking points to think that there's something inferior about black people, that this keeps happening. You're putting it on something inherently wrong with inside of black people. No, if I cause violence and oppression to you and yours for over 400 years, generation after generation after generation, and if we suppress black economic upward mobility for hundreds and hundreds of years, what do you expect? This is nothing that black people have done. This is what white supremacy has done.
So I understand what redlining is. I understand. Redlining is real. It has happened, and it was very bad. Except back to my point, and I'm going to keep it very simple because it just makes sense when you talk about it like this. If this case is true, right? First off, give me a reason. Again, I want a modern term in 2024. How is the government of these white supremacists, quote unquote, right, responsible for the extreme homicide and theft rates? And I know, and wait, hold on, I want to say something else too. You guys are wondering, why am I so fixated on these two types of crimes? Because
We're
let's
not
be
wondering,
realistic.
we know why.
Let's be real. No,
Yeah.
you don't. No, you don't.
Let's be real.
Because let's be
We do.
realistic. You
Yeah.
know why? You know why? Because if all crimes were viewed as the same, we wouldn't have different sentences. For example, do you think people give a shit about tax evasion? No, they don't. What do you think someone's more likely to care about? Tax evasion
Wait a minute.
or
Wait a minute.
homicide?
Black people get 19% longer sentences for committing the same crimes we do as white people. So what are you talking about?
Because you have to look at the severity of the crime.
You
Again,
You have to look at
for
the severity
committing
of the
the
crime.
same crime.
Did you look at the
They are
case?
getting
Did you
20%
actually
longer
look at the
sentences.
cases? Okay, I'll give you a situation. So there was a case where a 17-year-old black teen from Memphis was recently just arrested. He just got life in prison for homicide, right? Meanwhile, a white man, right, who also committed homicide, okay, or manslaughter in this case. No, it was homicide. Yes, homicide. I have the case right here on my computer. Was not given life in prison, yet he was given 20 years, okay? So that proves your point.
John, I need to ask you a question.
So I want to look at the case. So
Yeah.
I need to, okay, so this is, why is it that whenever we give examples, the response we get is, oh, that's anecdotal, but it's perfectly fine for them to give singled, isolated examples?
Because it doesn't fit
because you guys
the
don't
white
actually look
supremacist
at the
narrative.
situation.
It doesn't fit the white supremacist narrative.
What's the white
You want to
supremacy?
continue their talking
Hold on.
no matter
y'all
what.
hear? Wait. Hold up. Did y'all hear what he just said? Did y'all just hear the host and John? Did y'all Diva? Did y'all just hear what he just said?
What did he say?
Nope.
He said because we do not look up that information.
Yeah, we're not looking it up, guys. Why?
So if you're not looking,
I don't understand that
How
we're
do
sitting
you
here
have
acting
a
like that's an
conversation
offensive thing to
about
say.
it?
That's completely logical to say in this.
Host,
you're
hold
not
up,
going to
hold up.
overtalk me.
Steve,
You are not
Steve,
going to overtalk
You
me.
need to stop. No, host, so melodic. He said we, you, John, Diva, basically saying we don't know what we talking about.
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay.
I stand by that point because you guys have proved it. That's the same reason silver dropped.
So,
Actually,
So
that's
we're
not,
sitting here, we're looking at, right? The reason I'm bringing up isolated cases is because when you actually go more isolated and actually look at specific issues, you start to realize the severity of it. We're not doing that. Instead, looking at a blank sheet and calling it,
So, sir.
do that. We cannot do that.
So, sir, you bringing up, so John just brought up a great point, and you brought up an own case. So let's go about that case. You said the black man got life in prison, but the white man got 20. That just proves John's point. That doesn't
Finish
even,
it though? But can I finish it?
Hold on. No,
No,
you
Diva,
can't.
I'm going to finish
Hold
it
on.
because guess
Wait.
what? You didn't let me finish. And you're taking it out of context.
Wait.
Take it out of context.
On the simple basis.
Stop interrupting people. Stop unmuting.
So on the simple basis of the fact that we are going to, because I watch plenty of true crime, sir. When we look at how people are charged, right? If they were both charged with manslaughter, right? We can get into the details of said crime, but it's the point of they both committed homicide, right? They both should have got life in prison or 20, whatever the heck. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Go ahead,
Answer your,
John.
can I answer? Okay,
You guys
hold on.
have-
I was going to respond to her.
Hold up. You did not let Diva finish. Let her
Because
finish.
she just finished.
No, she didn't.
oh, she said to go ahead, I think.
What is your problem with the impulse?
It's not impulse.
I didn't pass it to you, sir. I didn't say you can respond. I passed it to John because he has his hand up, and he's probably going to add on to what I'm going to say. So,
You did
go-
that with my situation. You didn't let me finish, so it's a little
shut up,
disrespectful.
shut up. Before John speaks, I just, you know me, I gotta make observations. If he's struggling with impulse control and having conversations, What else does he struggle with? I'm just saying. If you can't control your mouth, what else can you not control? Go ahead, John.
So, here's another thing about this conversation I don't understand. We're talking about a white supremacist country and the damage and destruction done by white supremacy. Yet, you want to sit here and blame those that are oppressed. I don't get it. Why are you pointing the finger at black people when you can't even have accountability yourself? That's what I don't understand. Like, why don't you see that the problem is white supremacy, which is a white person problem?
I'll gladly answer that. For one, I did take accountability. When she asked me, who are the great colonizers of the world? I said, white people. They have done horrible things.
It's not she.
Atrocious things, right? So,
Let me get this
no,
straight.
no.
No, you're not gonna keep on calling me she. My pronoun is not she, it's he and him.
Answer the question. I wasn't speaking about you. I'm sorry.
You were okay.
I was
Who are you speaking
Was
about?
I the one to ask you about who conquered the seven continents? I'm the one to ask you. I'm the
then I
one.
apologize. You asked me.
Yes.
Okay.
You weren't listening.
When I was asked, right, I owned up to it, and I even said, I believe there is racism. Except when I'm trying to point out here, I've explained this a million times. Back to the point. First off, I want to stretch back to what Diva said. End of the line, they're both homicide. That's true, except again, severity of the case. In law, we take everything to account. So let's go to the black teen. What he did is that he robbed a farmer selling his goods at a farmer's market in their town. He ended up pew-pewing him multiple times, right? Leaving him critically injured to the point where then he passed away. That is extremely more severe than this man who was at a shooting range. When they're at said pew-pew range, right, there was an incident, right? They mistreated the firearm and were being irresponsible with it, in which that led to a bystander being unalived, in which I believe that bystander might have been his friend, right? So again, it's severity and intent that we need to look at and understand. I find it disrespectful. We're not taking that into consideration, because if we all sit here, I think we can understand, right? Irresponsibility, which is pretty, led to an atrocious thing, right? Isn't as severe as a point blank unaliving in public of an innocent man. It's intent. And if we don't take that into account, we're going to sit here and we're going to be stuck on the same talking point, which is going to get us nowhere.
Mod duty real quick, please. Mod duty real quick, please. Mod duty
That's
real
going to take
quick.
into account of this.
Oh my goodness.
I want to ask this. I
Please.
swear.
Gone.
Go ahead, Silva. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. The great, you are on the profile of a 21-year-old girl. If you are not here to lure young men, I suggest you go get your own TikTok account.
That's
and
cringe.
leave that
Why would I be
child
on here to
alone.
lure young men?
Leave that child alone.
How is she a child when it's 21?
That is a
How is
21-year-old
21-year-old a fucking
and you
child, you
are a
ignorant bitch?
grown man. You are a grown man, sir. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the statistics of white men and young children.
How do you know
Because
he's white?
this is how, before you go, we are going to talk about something that is not statistical data, that is harmful to our children.
How do you know?
Because there are white men who act as girls like that to trick white men, white young boys, into giving them pictures of themselves, and then they blackmail them. This is something that the white supremacists do, and this is what I created my platform to stand against. We need to be careful of men perpetrating themselves as women, young women, because 21-year-old is still young. And we need to be wary of that. And now I'm dropping back into the comments. Please don't at me, Search Weekend.
I've never added you.
Okay, go back to the conversation.
Never wanted to talk to you, but thank you.
Also, John had his hand up, so go ahead, John.
How do we know?
I want you to hear this because I'm glad she brought that up, and it's getting off the topic. A young baby who's 3 years old, Josephine, and I sent it to all you guys, was unalived by a white tea man. He raped her and she was foaming from her mouth. So bad. And she died. She was unalive at 3 years old. 3 years old. I want you just, when I saw that, 3 years old, and he gave details of what he did to that baby. And you're up here so concerned about the black population that you are so wrong. When I brought up the statistics, you don't want to hear the statistics because you want to blame.
I do.
You want to blame.
I wanna hear
Sir,
that.
please do not interrupt me because I'm tired of you interrupting. You want to blame everything what's going on in the United States. And I have asked this question and you admitted who today and then in 1700s, you want to say 1700, but it was way before that because what they did to our people was 1619 when they brought them over here. And you want to sit up here and say, oh, black people are committing more crimes. That I'm looking at the data and it shows that the FBI, that y'all commit more crime than we do.
Our data and probable data are different, guys.
About raw
Ron, we know
data.
this.
I don't want to hear nothing about raw data.
It's probable data that I'm
Because
talking about. You're talking about raw data.
You always, the raw data
You don't
fits
even know
your
how to read a
narrative.
graph. Oh my goodness.
You continue to interrupt
gosh.
people. You continue to
Because you can't even read a stats
I can't
chart.
even mute
It's
you
insane
anymore.
to me that you're making a
Like,
claim, but you
this
can't
make
even
no
read a proper
sense.
chart.
Listen, I wish I could mute you. I was muting you. I can't mute you no more. That you're talking over me.
Because you're spewing misinformation.
That's not misinformation.
What is it? What is it? The
It
truth?
is not misinformation. You want to sit up here and say raw data this and raw data, but does raw data go along with your people? Does it?
It does. Yes, it 100% does.
So when you
It
look
applies
at
to
raw
white people as
data,
well. Yes, it does.
if you look at raw data, that means that
I
y'all,
look at probable
the
data.
percentage,
I look at probable
the
data with
percentage,
a
sir.
T.
What is your problem? What is your problem with the
What is your
impulse
problem? You don't
of
listen.
talking
You don't
over
listen.
people?
You
What
don't
is your
listen.
problem of talking over people?
Because it's
You already
misinformation.
saying,
It's
sir, you already saying that we, she dropped him. He's already saying that we commit more crimes than anything, but it shows on the FBI statistic, that I read statistic, I know what statistic is. I even memorized the data. So white tea supremacists wouldn't come up here and say these things. This is wow.
I want to say something. You know what he said, that comparison he made is exactly what white supremacy is. When he's willing to come up here and go, well, white people commit crimes where the gun accidentally, or the pew pew accidentally misfired and there was a problem. Those are the crimes white people commit. But when black people commit crimes, he's in a store and he went up and pew pewed someone, a farmer, for no reason, and and stole, and like, this is what white supremacy does. We take the absolute worst of what we think black people are, and they'll use the worst effing example they could find. That's just like they do with Chicago and all this, black on black crime. This is what white supremacy does. Like, white people have never gone into a store and pew pewed the cashier before. You've got to be kidding me. That's not what that stat is talking about. Committing 20% longer sentences for committing the same crimes in the same situations. Yes, that is not the same situation. I understand that. But again, now go get the crime stats for the white people that did what that black man did that you were talking about. Like, let's compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges. If you want to talk about people going into a store and pew-pewing the cashier, robbing and doing it for no reason, let's see the sentences between the races. I guarantee it, black Americans are getting longer sentences than white people. This happens all the time. So, to me, he's full of shit. And I'm done.
And
John, what about Brock? Brock, who raped 3 women, got probation, and what happened in Vanderbilt? A young African American male did the same thing, but he only did rape 1 woman, and he got 5 years. He didn't get probation. Stop it.
And my other point, because again, we're not even supposed to be talking about crime. We're supposed to be talking about white supremacy, and this is how white supremacy continues to manifest. Is because they want to bring up crime because that's the only type of thing that they can, say, oh, well, they try to make it seem like black people, again, are inherently violent and this, that, and a third. And that's why he kept bringing up petty crime and homicide, because he wanted to paint this picture, especially in the chat, that we are just this, and this, when again, sir, when it comes to statistics, since you clearly can't read, when we're talking about all statistics, because you just wanted to talk about one type of crime, when we're talking about all type of crime, we can look at the statistics, and it tells us that white people commit these crimes more than any other race. So this is how white supremacy persists. It persists because they want you to believe that black people are making this crime and this, that, and a third, without recognizing that, again, the exoneration rate, without recognizing the fact that we are put into these places by white supremacy and oppression. They want to forget all of that because you committed a crime, and that's not what this is. Let's be honest with ourselves here.
Ooh, I like that, host. I could see all that. That's good.
Yeah, I just wanted to point something out. So what that person was doing, and I've forgotten their name already, is that they were doing black on black crime. And the people in the comments are doing some of the others, such as calling out racism is racist. I actually have this open up on another device, and I'm actually keeping tabs on every racist point that is said in the comments. So when I have Full House Bingo, I will let you all know.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Take too
Also,
long.
to the person that just added me, don't add me. I haven't said an or addressed you, and also, I don't need to pray. You might need to pray though. I'm heavily blessed. Thank you very much. Paige, can you get your name and your race?
Yes, of course. I am 32 years old and I am white tea.
What would you like to say to the topic?
No, I just totally agree with you, Diva. We, as white tees, really do the whole Chihuahua versus Pitbull thing. We try to make ourselves out to be these cute little lap dogs. They don't do anything. We're all innocent, We never do any crime. We never do anything bad. Our crimes are just a little slap on the hand. And I agree with you. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We need to look at the statistics. We need to look at the real, the real thing here. That's all.
Anybody? No.
Coming up, they're loading in.
Oh,
Get ready.
Hey, how's it going? Hello?
It's good.
What's up?
What's your thoughts on the background?
Can I change the way you think or feel?
No.
No, you can't.
So why you think you could do it to somebody else?
We don't.
Okay, so this is just you don't care how people think or feel when in the background when they read the background, right?
No.
So
Because
it's
human
just,
rights aren't up for debate, sir.
well, then we just don't debate it. But people are gonna do what they want and vote how they want and feel how they want. You can't
Right.
change them.
So in other words, don't talk about it and it'll go away.
Exactly.
What's the point of this live?
Sir, what is your age and race?
I'm 45, gonna be 46. I'm African, if that's a race.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not a race. Okay, so then I'm whatever it is. If it's not a race, then I'm just whatever. So what questions
is
you want to
whatever?
ask a Trump supporter who is not religious?
What, sir?
I'm a Trump supporter who is not religious.
Trying to change the topic.
It has nothing to do with the topic, sir.
Can you answer the topic? The question?
So his race is white tea. He's white tea.
Whatever you want to call me.
That
Lo que
you're
tú
white
quieres,
tea,
tú
sir.
quieres llamarme a mí, lo que tú quieres llamarme a
Let me
mí, tú
ask you
puedes
a
llamarme
question.
eso.
What is your phenotype? Do you know what phenotype is?
I'm African, Native American, and European.
What
That's
is
what's
your
in my
phenotype,
DNA.
sir? What is
That's
your
what's in.
phenotype? What is your
I'm
phenotype?
black. I'm black.
No, you're not, because you look white
So
tea.
then why are you asking me? If you know, if you're telling me no, you're not to everything, why are you
I went
asking?
on your page and you look white tea. Why are you
Then
hostile?
why are you asking?
Why are
Okay,
you
I'm
hostile?
Hispanic. We don't have a race. Okay,
Why are
let's
you
get past it.
hostile?
I'm